You start out with a little bit of oil. Then you throw in some tomatoes, some tomato paste. You fry it. You make sure it doesn't stick.
It's a better to use a good canned tomatoes. Never chopped tomatoes or ground tomato. Never. Ciao, I'm Cesare Casella. I'm a Michelin-Star chef. I cooking Italian food for the last 30 years. Today we're looking at the Italian cuisine in a movie and TV, and we're judging how really they are. You put inside, you beating inside because you wanted to incorporate the flour little bit for time. So that is the old school, the housewife or the cook, the home cook. Carbonara is another dish that it's a some rules. It's a dry pasta and non fresh pasta. Dry pasta is al dente. The eggs, fresh pasta, it's a very difficult to be al dente. Al dente is a perfect cooked pasta. First of all, no, I think the Romans, they're going to be upset. Look like it's a weird meat there. Look like almost some type of prosciutto. For the Romans, the carbonara, it's is a religion, and they have a very specific recipes. They use guanciale, so what is from the chick, the pig. What is good at the carbonara or the amatriciana when you make it with the guanciale or pancetta, but must to be fat because the fat is what they give the right consistency. For me, the carbonara, I use all eggs, and then I like it to finish to cook the eggs with the pasta. So I take out from the fire, and then with the heat of the pasta, you cook the eggs. I rate this 6/10. Some of the ingredients, that is important.
Here.
No, use your wrist. It's all in the wrist.
Whoa!
Not too hard.
How you throw the pizza, how you don't need it to make it that way, but it's helpful when you spread the dough. They are the championship, world championship for the pizza when the people dancing with the pizza for their ability to do.
Yeah, not too much.
The pizza, there must be a lot of tomato, a lot of cheese, and then in Italy, traditionally is a less cheese for two reasons. Why? Because it is a balancing what is there, but if you do it here, sometime you can have a complaint, why is there not enough cheese?
It's cucumbers.
No, you cannot put cucumbers on a pizza.
Well, why not? I like cucumbers.
That's not a pizza. It'll taste terrible.
It's a people that put a pineapple. I remember 3-4 years ago, I went some of my friends brought in my hometown, and then this pizza place, they get the pizza with the French fry on top. What? And then I needed to taste. Then it wasn't bad. So some freedom to do something, I think is a real. So it's a 10-10. Because the pizza maybe is not really, but you can go in every place to find.
Cabago, over here. Right there.
Sopranos is sometimes exaggerate, but it's the real life, the everyday. The gabagool that comes from the neck of the pig is a part where it's very strong because there are a lot of muscles. But the fat too, they aging very easy, and then there wasn't the meat that wasn't so expensive like the prosciutto. Gabagool, capicola, or coppa, they are the same because sometimes the language, it's when they blend some language between Italy and America. When I arrived in New York, there was a talk gabagool, and I didn't know what it was. It's a prosciutto ma you call prosciutto.
Tony Gabagool, Grandma. It's nothing but fat and nitrates.
I think it's a very realistic. In the U.S., when you make a very high production, what are they doing? They was make a very high nitrate to make it to be safe for the scare. So that is why, because true, more cheaper the product is more fat and more nitrate to make sure they are safe. It's a 10 because it's an Italo-American life.
Now this is the most crucial part.
Oh my God!
You put the pasta back in the pot. You add a little gravy.
It's fun.
And a little butter.
The Italian community, normally, they use more olive oil than butter. So they add the butter because that is a French recipe. They use the butter. So the butter, there was something for me that I don't know how much is real.
You put the fire back on. For 45 seconds, stir it up real nice.
Yes, that I agree 100%. I don't think that is enough 45 seconds. I think I doing and I put 2-3 minutes because I try to cook less possible in the water, and then I going to add a finish to cook in with the sauce. If you give a little bit more the sauce, the pasta can be more flavor. I think it's 7 to 10.
Motherfucker.
He's upset because the rabbit, they eat everything in the garden. I agree with him because when between woodchuck or rabbit, they eat, and they eat the rabbit.
Arthur, a lot of people don't like rabbit.
My grandfather's way, only with Provençal elements I've been thinking about.
I think the people they like rabbit more than what we think. Many people they connect the rabbit with the bunny. A lot of bunny, especially for kids. So that is a little bit more difficult. But in Italy, if we talk a long time ago, there was a practice the only meat they eat because the cows, there was the tractor. The chicken, you have a lot of chicken, but for eggs. Rabbit, there was easy to be the food the Sunday because you raise the rabbit with not too expensive because they eat grass. So the rabbit, there was a very available for the meat that you want to eat. The wine, it's important when you cook. One, the acidity, and the second, what they add is the flavor from the wine. In fact, when you cook, you want to use a good wine. Now, normally, the people, they're cooking, and they try to use the worst wine or the wine that costs $2. You want a good wine, especially because it's a good wine, you keep all the flavor. When the bad wine reduce, they're going to be more bad because you have the concentrate bad wines. Yes, there was a time that I hurt my arm. I can't use, so I know was 100% effective, but I must work because I was the head chef and the owner. So if you are, they need to work, you can work because it's difficult to work only with one hand. The fact that they take the recipes from my grandfather, maybe 8, 10. The killing the rabbit and the cooking, they are not so realistic.
Trenette al pesto.
The scenes are very, very realistic. Trenette di pesto we are in Liguria, they have the trenette. They are made in the very traditional way with the green beans and then the basil, what is from that region. And then the director is Italian, he's from Genoa. And then for that, he want to be very specific, very particular, very realistic in what is the ingredients they have. Liguria and near Genova, these Is that where they growing the perfect basil because of the air from the ocean and where they growing this basil. The specialty is that is a pesto. Pesto alla genovese is a basil, pinoli, a cheese, and olive oil, a little bit of garlic. And this is the most traditional dish from all Liguria. The way they eat the pasta, and then teaching about the pasta, that you use the fork. If you say, Luca, how the correct they make it is there, it's a correct. And then it's when you go around, you try to have more spaghetti possible.
Wait, what?
Every year they change the pasta. You have to be ready for anything. Could be cannelloni, penne, fusilli, troffie, even lasagne.
In Italy we have thousands because everybody they make each region they make in this way. The basic from rigatoni, spaghetti, tagliatelle, penne. So you cut the head, and then you have the rest of the fish that you clean. Maybe the head they're going to sell separate, or maybe they sell it for the cats. I rated this a 10-10. I'm sorry, you choose it. It's your fault. You choose something's bad.
Johnny Dio did the meat. We didn't have a broiler, so Johnny did everything in pans. Hey, but he still cooked a great steak.
You can cook a steak in the pots. For me, when I cook my meat, I want a room temperature, and after it's a room temperature, I put it in the fire. I don't put the salt, pepper, anything. I salt only, and then the meat. If they are pots or broiler, I prefer a wood fire. My hometown in Luca, I used to go to it in this pizza place, and he make the steak inside the oven. It's one of the best way to make it because the power from the bottom and the top, and you have this fire that come between the two, and they form the crust on the both side. In the grill, they're going to lose the juice. The steak, when you put in the oven, and they create this envelope around, and all the juice is inside.
Vinny was in charge of the tomato sauce.
Oh, got the smoke.
3 small onions, that's all I did.
3 onions.
I felt he used too many onions, but it was still a very good sauce.
You need to have the balancing between what is the garlic, the onions. And the onions, sometimes they taste different because if they are fresh onions, so they harvested from not too long, it's more sweet. In the spring or in the summertime, you have these onions that are much more strong. So it's one of the ingredients that you want to check very well.
And he had this wonderful system for doing the garlic. He used a razor, and he used to slice it so thin that it used to liquefy in the pan with just a little oil.
When they slice the garlic with the razor, the slice of the garlic is important because it's how the part of the garlic they have a contact with the oil, but at the same time it's important how you cook the temperature. For example, slicing that way and then you cook at very low temperature, you confit the garlic, so you extract the flavor. But if you cook very high, you're going to have this smelling flavor of the garlic that you continue to have in your mouth for all dinner. In this case, it's good. It's a 10-10 that can be. It's a very perfect. That is a pasta. It's a pasta. You make, from there you make a. So in that case, they don't cut, but you start with the mozzarella, with the pin, raw pin. You make the pasta there. Today you make it with the machine. Yes, I made timpano before, and in my Tuscan way, but practically you call timpano or pasticcio, but practically take all these 3 days to prepare because there are 6, 7, 8 different recipes. Depends how many ingredients you put inside. because you don't know when you open, you take out, you don't know if it's broken or what's happening. So it's stressful. When you make a timpano or pasticcio, all the time it's non easy, especially when it's so big. When you grease the parts, some spot, small spot, stay there, the pasta still stick there, they don't come out. So it's a very stressful, because you work 3 days to prepare all the ingredients, 1 day to put everything together.
Brought from their hometown. I only heard.
Not all the time they come perfect like this. I believe they try many times.
Damn it! So good, I should kill you.
Sometimes I see manager coming to call, there's a customer at table 32, they have a complaint for you, and then you go to the table already ready for tell something. Was so fantastic. So I was lucky, and I get a lot same response in the back. So I born in the restaurant, and then that is something making me happy, and then cook and make happy people. This is what my life. It's a beautiful. It's like a private party. It's like a feast. So they try to send out everything they have in the house to make like an important banquet. And then they send out the tomato, the artichoke, and then the pig. The pig, there was looking nice, because the suckling pig, it's something considered like a delicatessen. And then it's food from the south. This like a majestic banquet. I think it can be 10 by 10. I can understand the fact that what they're doing, and then the frustration they have. I think the timpano, they did it in perfect way.
About cannolis, and more specifically, savory ones.
Okay, like with a mortadella mousse.
Parmesan shell.
Yeah, dipped in pistachio.
Ooh.
That's something.
Traditional cannoli is a dough that you make this tube, and then you fill up with the ricotta, and then inside you can put the chocolate, you can put the fruit under the sugar, so it's a sweet, but they keep the flavor.
Special savory dish.
Wow.
Wait 1 second. This one is a little bit of all of it.
It's a very interesting. The cannoli they make with the Parmigiano. I feel that is a real cannoli, because they are so perfect. The Parmigiano tool, it's more difficult to make. He created this dish with some ingredients from everybody. So they put the salmon eggs, they put the pistachio. It's a nice one that you can make your team feel part of the team. I think this is a more American-Italian, Italian-American, because this is supposed to be fancy. I think maybe 7 in 10.
At that house, it is not.
I didn't know that there was a helper. Yeah. I did the research. If you start with the good ingredients, and then you respect the good ingredients, you make great dishes.
I'm about to add some tomato paste to deepen the flavors and make it taste basically like it did not come out of a box.
Because Cindy, she's a great chef, so she tried to make this little bit more upscale, to add the tomato paste and the Parmigiano. So I agree with her. I'm curious, maybe one day I cook and I taste. How much is a realistic? Is a 10 by 10, these two?
And seal the edges by crimping with a fork. Ah, crap.
I think the techniques they use is for non-professional, because it is non-professional. It's the right way they're doing. Is if you see they come out, I feel they are very realistic. If you was in the pizza place, the pizzaiolo, doing this, that is ridiculous.
About is a portable, delicious meal that is its own container. It's a whole new spin on Italian fast casual dining.
I like a calzone. Many times the calzone, there are too much stuff inside because I like it for me the one is the balancing, the dough, but many times there's a mountain with the inside.
Now you of all people like this. I'm going to use low-fat ingredients. Game changer.
The classic calzone, depending on the way you come from Italy, where I come in Tuscany, the calzone is only what you have inside the tomato, the mozzarella, and maybe some mushroom, prosciutto cotto, cooked ham. If you like the pizza with a cucumber, or you like the pizza with a pineapple, or the margherita. It depends what you put inside. It's the same. I rate this 10 because it's very realistic.
You start out with a little bit of oil, and you fry some garlic. Then you throw in some tomatoes, some tomato paste. You fry it. You make sure it doesn't stick.
For me, when you make a sauce, it's better to use a good canned tomatoes. Because it's more difficult to find good fresh tomatoes, it's easier to find good canned tomatoes. I try to use a good canned tomatoes. Never chopped tomatoes or ground tomato, never, because that is the worst tomato that you can have. When it's the whole tomatoes, it's where you want to go.
You got it to a boil, you shove in all your sausage and your meatballs. Huh?
The idea for him to use this sausage instead to use the ground beef or ground pork because the sausage already is seasoning. If you have the sausage that you have already a few days, or what is the time, there's stronger flavor.
A little bit of sugar, and it's my trick.
And then, like, you put the sugar.
Is that a standard Italian thing?
It's not standard, but it's people they use the sugar like a normal, and there is people they say the sugar is not good to use the sugar inside. For me, instead of the sugar, I put maybe the carrots, or I cook very slow the onions, and the carrots, they help to be more sweet without to put the sugar. I think they are real, I rate 10/10.
Now remember, you're getting off easy because we haven't got sauce.
Yeah.
You eat with the spoon. The spoon is very rare, but eat with the spoon. Second, the spaghetti is almost more correct than no with the spoon. Look more chic to use the spoon, but many people they use it because they look they are more correct, but they are not correct. That it make it more easy for somebody, but no eat spaghetti, eat something else. It's like somebody they eat a risotto with the spoon. It's the same. Risotto you eat it with the fork.
I'm going to say splash anytime I see problems. Splash! You just splashed his mother, his father, and the walls.
Splash if you're going slow, you try to the spaghetti to be already dressed in the right way. I can rate 6 how they eat the spaghetti. First of all, I love the movie and I love the pizza. This is Michele, the pizzeria. And the pizza they eat, if you see, is very good. What is the pizza napoletana? They cook in very high oven. So 800, 900 temperature, so is so high, and they cook in 2 minutes, 90 seconds, 2 minutes.
I'm in love.
One way to judge the pizza, it's that you need to keep in your hands. So if they're going down, means the pizza they are not good. Sometimes today you find these Napoletana, they are mushy. The pizza you need to eat in your hands. Pizzas are not to eat with a fork and knife. Is at the hands what you going. I rate this 10. Everything is
That's really impressive.
Yeah, it's very realistic. The tiramisu, they are very bad. Where you judging all these, how realistic it's the fat, the what's happening, or the product is made in the right way. Tiramisu is something like call in some ways the Italian cheesecake. I don't know, somebody going to kill me, but it's a mascarpone. Instead to use a cream cheese, and then you put inside eggs, the Savoiardi.
We cover it with chocolate.
The whole thing.
Just dump it on, I'm serious.
Okay.
And now it looks professional.
That is an all right. From a professional point of view, no. If you put a cacao in top, it's gonna make it look better.
Good right, Maroki? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The fact is very realistic how real you can make, because the guy, they did a very good. I don't know what type of tiramisu is this, because this is more like a tart. The tiramisu you use in mascarpone, or use somebody use a cream, heavy cream, and then ladyfinger. If you look at these, it's a perfect. They don't need it to set overnight. Some people, they can make the tiramisu in the moment. I prefer maybe not overnight, but say a few hours deep with the every flavor that coming together. I think I can rate these 8-10. When they say to use the chocolate, you put in top everything and make it well, it's not true.
A me dammene tanta, mamma, eh?
Te ne do quella che ti spetta a te.
È giusta di sale.
They look like a more the boiled chicken. So you make a boil. So in that way you have the broth plus the meat from there, and then you can have a full meal.
Ma come pesa?
Insomma, cos'è che c'hai?
Non c'ho niente.
E perché non mangi allora?
Perché non mi va di mangiare.
Ma perché non ti va?
They was doing laundry because the stove in the house like this, where is a lot of people, they are on 24-hour day, because you keep the coffee there, you keep the broth, you make the soup all day. The women cooking. My mentor is my mom. I went to cooking school, but I still today to cook with the idea and what is the food of my mom. In Italy, the mother, the women, there was the great chef.
Ne prendo ancora un pezzettino, eh?
Fermoli!
Un pezzettino d'ala.
Te la do io.
It's not so much that you take what you want. So the father is the leader, and then you need for him to give it to you. I remember when I was a kid, so they were in the family to have my grandfather, my uncle, and to be there, you must to eat at the table at that time. Many times what's happening, the women who work in the kitchen, and they continue to work, and then the last people, they sit down at the table.
Ci hai messo la mentuccia?
Ma no, ma che mentuccia? La salvia. Però te ne sei accorto subito.
I think the herbs depends where you come from in Italy. In Tuscany is a lot like rosemary we use. Other part more oregano. You taste right away if they are there or not.
Siete sfondati! Sembra che non vi dia mai da mangiare.
Zio, stai a vedere.
Se ti vedi il babbo poi...
The Amarcord is from Fellini, and every movie di Fellini, they are a little bit interesting, but at the same time, what is they express really what is the real life in that years. And you see the details, what is in the wall, what is in the stove. I need to rate it as a 10, because they have everything, and then they are no one thing's wrong.
Okay, 4 pizzas and a salad.
Salad? How do you make a salad?
First, you throw in the whole head of lettuce.
Even the hard-to-eat white part at the bottom?
That's what the people want.
Yeah, I have. I think I have a lot of bad salad or bad takeout for different reasons. I had a lot of bad food in here in Italy too.
What about this tomato?
Cut it into thirds. It should be big enough to pretend you've got red teeth.
Well, we got these hot peppers, but you can't really eat them.
No problem. Dump them all in.
Yeah, make me think when you get that salad, they use this oil, they are greasy. I think they are a bad place in Italy, but because I think the people in Italy, they know more what is a good pizza or what they like.
I'll take it.
Oh, and make sure to stick it right on top of the pizza so it stays nice and warm. Hello, every pizza place.
Is what you find? They come from some take-out place, and you order and they deliver it to you, and this is what you find. It's a real. You can write 10. And then use the hands. And the mozzarella in carrozza, it's made perfectly with the string that came up. Is how it's supposed to be. Like that is right, meaning the mozzarella was very good. Many times when I was going with my father, especially we going to the market to buy vegetables for the restaurant, we used to go to eat, and it was the same way. The mozzarella make a good cheese from melting. It's not the best melty cheese. Like the cheddar, they can be melted better, or the American cheese. But in the way they are filled and make this string, it's the way they are prepared, because that is the way they make where they come this string when you cook. In Rome, very specific from Rome, mozzarella in carrozza, just mozzarella. So you take the bread, the leftover bread, and then you put it inside the mozzarella, and then you can put anchovy because they give it much more flavor, and then you pass that in the flour, bread, eggs, and you fry. This is more realistic. I can rate 10.
Ladies, thank you so much. Leah, I need that dough.
It's so energetic, so happy. Each one is doing the right ingredients. From the tomato sauce, the lasagna, it's correct. All they make, the eggs, the flour, the tomato sauce, they are correct.
Yeah, we'll need about a half a pound of this.
You wait, and you try to use that. The French cuisine, they are very standardized. More the kitchen, have the codification. The Italian cuisine, the lasagna, they change from north to south. Never somebody in the north in the house make a lasagna with the ricotta. In the south they make ricotta. They put the mozzarella too. But if you go in the north, they don't use the mozzarella. And then practically you use what you like. It's very flexible. So there's not really one recipe.
Taste that. Is that too sweet for you?
When you taste the sauce, you want to be not only the sweet, if the acidity, not too much to do, but if it's salt, pepper, it's a very important too. Before you build the lasagna.
All I see are magnificent ribbons of perfection.
Five, 6 layer the pasta. How they make the pasta from the machine? It's in the way that you want. In the oven, you see when they put. So now there is a trendy the 100 layer lasagna, and then the lasagna. You look at the lasagna. It's a perfect. It's everything that you want. The ingredients and the product to make the lasagna. The perfect lasagna is for each one. It can be different, but when we talk before about it's like an orchestra, there need to be this balancing in the ingredients they make together, from the cheese, the pasta, the sauce inside. This was so happy. I need to rate this 10. I think they made the lasagna better in many places. It's a very realistic that. The techniques is a very good techniques, and the way they roll the pasta is the perfect way, is how you do it with the mozzarella. They make the tortellini. The tortellini is very hard to make by hands. The way that you closing, because they need to be perfect, because when you're cooking, if you don't close perfectly, they open, and then you're going to be something else.
Bravo, brutto, 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 brutto.
Perché brutto? Sembra simile. No, non è brutto. Guarda.
Brutto, disastro.
So the lady, the pasta boss, La Sfoglina, it's the teacher, the master to make the pasta. They are very particular, very the perfection. When I was in school, they making me to do this. One day I was a cry because I can't work in that way. From that day, I wanted every restaurant I was making sure, or I buy from somebody, or I have somebody in the restaurant that know how to make. And that is for Christmas, in most of the menu, in the houses, you have the tortellini. You see how they need to be very particular in the way they make, in the way that you close. I think this, it's the way that she check this brutto, this good, this, because really it's art. If you had to make a pasta, some tips, it's important to use the right flour. Know every flour, it's right, and then not going right away to tortellini. Start to do before some simple noodle, tagliatelle, or something else. And then it's a fun. To make a pasta is a fun. And then, but if you want to go something more difficult, you need to have a practice. I rate this a 10-10.
He says he wants 2 spaghetti speciale, heavy on a meatball.
You the boss?
Mamma mia, mangiare.
It's just so cute. I think it's from the 50s. And then they did the spaghetti and meatballs, and then the way they cook it together, put the sauce on top, look like what they do. The proportion of the meat and pasta, in the sense, the pasta is from main course, so you want to use more meat. For me, like if I use a 3-ounce pasta is a 3-ounce meat. I can say in Italy today, it's more popular what there was a traditional. We make a very small meatballs, and then the only difference, they are bigger, and then here they become more popular because it's a easy food, is a protein, they don't cost too much. When they cook from the parts, they take the sauce inside, so it's correct, and it is so cute. I rate it 10 to 10. My favorite movie that we saw today was A Big Night, because what is the energy, when they come out, it's a great movie. I born in Italy, in Luca. My parents have a restaurant. I took over the restaurant. My family restaurant in Luca, I was a Vipore. I gained the Michelin-Star. I moved to New York because New York was my dream of life. And I opened my first restaurant in New York, was a Beppe. And after that, I opened a couple more restaurants. The show in Rome with Anthony Bourdain. I wrote a few books. And one is the Diary of a Toscan Chef. Now I spend my time at the Center for Discovery, upstate New York, and I work in the program, the food farming program. They are working for the special needed people. Long time, it's 20 years that I'm involved.